Have you noticed this huge disconnect that is happening right now in our culture? It's like this great chasm between, what we saying we have, which is like wellness, which is looking after our mental health, which is self-care. And what is happening in actual life for most of us, which is struggle, which is frustration, which is just trying to get through the day. And this struggle, it goes unseen. The struggle oftentimes goes unheard. Oftentimes, this struggle goes unfelt. Unfelt. Even inside of us. And so we become strangers to our own experience. Have you ever felt this way? Become disconnected from our own self because it doesn't match the reality that society is telling us. Society is telling us, look, everything's great. Just gotta take a deep breath and everything will be fine. And that's not how things are. Yes, we have come a long way from where we've been. Now we can have a conversation about mental health. Now we can have a conversation about self-care. Now we can have a conversation about stress. We can now talk about it. Challenges. We're not in a place where we are doing real stuff about it. We're talking a lot about things that are important. But we're not doing things that matter. We're talking about mental health, but self-care isn't really mental health. Well-being isn't necessarily mental health either. I mean, they are supporting mental health sometimes. But for a person who's been through trauma, person who's been through real struggle, the person who's like in the strife right now, self-care isn't enough. Empathy isn't enough. Understanding and well wishes ain't enough. You and I know that. What matters is we move away from talking about struggle, about supporting each other, and actually acting on it. And understanding that the root cause of the troubles we face in our lives is trauma. And the best definition I've heard of trauma was from a psychologist, Michael Birch, who I was privileged to have on my podcast, was that trauma is interrupting the flow of our life experience. Have you experienced that type of interruption? Or you feel like that flow of life, it should be natural, it should be flowing, right? When that flow is interrupted in a significant way. And you may be experiencing that right now. I want to say to you, my friend, that I honor your feelings. I honor where you've been. I honor where you're at right now. And I honor where you're going. I know what that's like. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I've been through cancer. I've been through all sorts of challenging experiences and things I didn't wish I have to go through. But here I am. And I've struggled a lot in my life with the impact of changes and challenges in my life. But I really believe that despite all the challenges and all the struggles, that there is hope, that there is possibility. It's something that's always kept me going. It's something that I talk about on the show. It's something I talk about in everything that I'm doing, because I believe that all of us, especially those of us who've been through difficult things, that we all have this power to be happy. You know? To just see clarity about what's right for you today. To do like your best so that you feel enough. And you're going after your dreams and have that hope. That no matter how crazy life gets, that things can and do change for the better. And I know sometimes in life we haven't experienced difficult things. We get reminded of them, right? It's what we call triggering, right? These experiences can be triggering. You might be, it might be a story that you hear somewhere. It might be something you see in a show. It might be just part of a conversation. I mean, and we get these things, they remind us, and they just sometimes affect us in super negative ways. From, sometimes it just pulls you back to the place of hurt. It can have all sorts of reactions on us. And what can we do about that? How do you even think about it? Because I've started to really think about it, because I was going to give a couple of talks, and when I said, that I'm going to talk about, trauma and the impact of trauma and healing from trauma, and I noticed that a lot of people started to really kind of pull back and say, yeah, we're not sure we want to have this kind of talk, right? Because what if somebody gets triggered? And that got me thinking about it. I realized how deep and profound our need is. Our need to not only heal, but our need to recognize the struggle that we live in. We get triggered by events, we get triggered by everything, but I almost feel like we have these trigger warnings, but we don't get the biggest trigger warning of all. The biggest trigger warning is life. Life is what happens. Life, it's like, you and I know that life isn't always easy. Life is tough. Life is just, it's a struggle sometimes. Sometimes it's things that you've been, like horrible things you've been through in the past. Sometimes you live with this impact today. And sometimes these things, they kind of add up, if you know what I mean. Sometimes I look at my life, I especially felt it when I was at my psychologist. And she asked me, she said, like, let's do this trauma map, right? Like, of all the things that kind of in your life that, had a big impact on your life. Like, in terms of traumatic stress. And so I started talking about it, and I started pulling this list together of things that happened. I was like, you know what? That's a lot. I didn't realize just how much of these things, they're going to stack up on top of each other. There's a lot going on that we don't often realize that these things not only happened, but how much they can affect us. And that's why I go with this. That's why I talk about this impact of trauma can often go unseen, unheard, and even unfelt. And yes, I really believe we do become strangers to our own experience sometimes. And it affects us, our health, on a deep, profound way. Doesn't it? And when I say health, I don't only mean mental health, but also social health, how we are around people. Because listen, if you've been through somebody did something horrible to you, you're going to be that much more careful around people. Physical health, just how much it affects us, because these things live in our body, we know that. But I really believe that the key to talking about dealing with the impact of trauma, dealing with situations that or content that might be triggering, and moving towards healing. Because that's what I always believe is part of the conversation of trauma, is recognizing that being through the place of hurt, and maybe being right now in the place of struggle, but moving towards hope, moving towards possibility, moving towards healing. And that is the journey that we take together. Because the struggle that we have right now, the disconnect that we were talking about, because when we're talking about self-care, well-being, wellness, great mental health, just living a good life, sometimes what gets lost is the sense that there's a real struggle that's happening out there. And sometimes it can feel like, all these other people out there, they're doing great. It's me who's struggling. And everyone else is fine. Their life just goes on. I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I felt this a lot. I felt like, all these people, they're doing great. So the struggle, our struggle goes, it's hidden. It's hidden. But why is it hidden? It's hidden because we don't realize that it's everyone. Research conclusively tells us that 7 out of 10 people experience a major traumatic event at least once in our lives. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. That is a lot, right? That's all of us. That means that all of us are either trauma survivors or caregivers or loved ones or supporters of someone who is a trauma survivor. That's all of us. There is no us and them. Because it's not them, it's us. Right? Us. It's all of us. It's you and me. We're in this together. Even the people who look like they've got everything figured out. We just don't see that struggle. We don't see that struggle. Because that struggle, it's unseen because nobody wants to show it. I'm sure that many people who would be interacting with me would probably not know a lot about me or the depth of my struggles, even when I was at my most challenging times in my life. Because we get so used and so good at hiding it. We get so used to just showing, the brave face, just showing up. We get used to the fact that we keep going and nobody sees our struggle. But we're in this together, my friend, aren't we? We are in this together. You and I. It's our story. You belong here with us. This is our life. You are who you are. What you've been through and the suffering that you have experienced, it doesn't detract from you. It is a part of who you are. And it's going to serve you in seeking these beautiful things in life, in love and connection and hope and excitement and fun. That's why we gotta flip. I really believe in our culture right now, we gotta flip from struggle alone to hope. Hope. to possibility. We gotta flip from hurt towards healing. We gotta flip from being alone to we're in this together. We gotta flip from feeling stuck in like this one place to being on the journey. That's why we gotta move. That's why I'm saying we gotta act. We gotta act when we want to heal. We can't wait to heal because we been waiting for such a long time. And we gotta seek out the experiences that are gonna support you on your journey of moving towards hope, moving towards possibility, moving towards connection, moving towards beautiful things in life. Yes, it's a journey because it doesn't happen instantaneously. And I think for me, like the word, like this idea of a journey is liberating because it means you don't have to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to be you. You're going to figure things out in a way that makes sense for you. That's why we got to seek out the experience that is going to enrich your life, that are going to feel good, that are going to pull you towards great things. That doesn't mean that the struggle isn't there. That doesn't mean that everything is perfect. But it's going to mean that you are moving towards something that inspires you, towards something that you want to have, towards something that you crave, that you desperately want. And I really believe that looking at experiences in life is not through the lens of content warnings, but through these three things that I want to talk you through quickly right now. And I think when we look at experiences and when we look at things that we come across in our lives, whether that's seeking out, like going to the theater, whether that's art, whether that's meeting new people, whether that's trying new activities, whether that's travel, like whatever that is for you, whether it's going out to eat in a new place, I think we should be asking ourselves primarily three questions. Is it engaging our senses? Is it engaging your senses, like your touch, your smell? Does it engage, things that how you listen to things? Does it engage like all of your senses, how you move, right? Does it engage like just like what you see, right? Like just like your sense of taste, like does it engage like all those different senses, different parts of who you are? And then if it is engaging, if it's something that just you kind of thinking about, you're evaluating things, you're experiencing things in a different way. That's powerful because it means that we're like it engages our whole body. It engages your brain. It engages our mind. It engages our senses. It just lights us up. I think these are the types of experiences that we want to be seeking in life. We want to be doing because we want to be, and as many senses as possible, because that kind of resets how we are inside. That looks for something different, that's something fresh, that's something different, that's something we all want, isn't it? I mean, you like new things, don't you? You like fresh, you like different. I think that's what we're all looking for, isn't it, in some way? So engage your senses. The second thing is, does it serve and support you in living your truth, in sharing your truth, expressing yourself without being judged? Whether that's sharing your truth in terms of saying what you really feel, saying what you really think, telling, like, I want to ask you, Do people around you, do they really know what you think? Do they know what you're genuinely feeling at any given moment? Do they know what you want? That's so vital to support each other and yourself in finding a way that sharing and living your own truth in a way that is true to you. And that, I think, is true for what we seek out in life. If you're going to meet people, like, are they going to be people who are genuine, with whom you can connect, like with whom you have like a genuine conversation about stuff? And you can tell them about things that excite you, about things that frighten you, about things that your dreams. Or is it going to be like polite and you're just gonna talk about nothing and you just have to be a certain way? Because we've all done it. And we get good at it, right? We get good at these conversations that are just, it's about nothing. So I want to ask you, this, I think, should be one of the criteria that you're seeking in life, is going like, does it serve and support me in living and sharing my truth? And your truth is always with you. It isn't some kind of, I'm not suggesting that you're going to have to tell people about your story of trauma, although that might be a part of it. But I'm just saying, you want to be sharing and expressing your truth and your feelings, your thoughts in a way that's real for you, in a way that people know who you are and what you stand for, isn't it? In whatever way that's real for you. I think that's key. And ultimately, does this experience in some way, is it honoring your own experience and your own inner world? Because so oftentimes we just go through things without realizing that you have this incredible world that exists deep inside you. And you have so many different parts of you, that speak to different experiences and different thoughts and different worries and different dreams and different ambitions that you have and different times of your life. And some of these parts, they need to come out and live. And some of these experiences and challenges and things that you've learned along the way, I mean, it's like this complex tapestry of life. And I think the experiences that seek out in life should not only engage your senses, they should not only support you in living your truth, but they should also honor your inner world. Because when you get to do that, you start to feel like it's your time. It's your time. It's your life. It's your reality. Your moment is now, today. And you should be seeking things every day that are pulling you forward instead of holding you back. When I say we, I mean you, I mean me, you, I mean everyone. We should be changing the whole conversation and what we do and what we're going towards, away from being alone and towards we're in this together, because we're all figuring this out together. That's why you're here. And I'm so honored for you to be part of this conversation, for you to be part of this journey, because we're together. This is what we're doing. By when we act, we are flipping the struggle to hope. We are changing the conversation and what we're doing away from hurt and towards healing. We're moving away from being stuck in this moment right now towards being on a journey, towards progress, towards moving forward, towards things that you want, towards figuring out what you're really looking for in life. That's what I'm doing. That's what I work with my clients do, because it's the journey that I am on. And I help people on their journey who've been through difficult things as a coach to figure out what's right for them now. I'm not a therapist, although I believe everyone should have a therapist, at least one, if not more. But I think a coach is a totally different role. And my role is to support you on your journey towards healing from trauma, towards the beautiful things in life, towards connectedness, towards living your dreams, towards making a difference in a way that is significant for you, towards reconnecting with your own story and what's right for you now. By the way, if you want to find out more about that, go to my website, powertobehappy.com. That's powertobehappy.com, and you can find out everything that you need to know about my coaching program. But I want to thank you, my friend, for being here today, for seeking out your own truth, for seeking out new experiences, for looking after your own health and well-being. Because no one, no matter how well-meaning they are, is not going to be more invested in your happiness, your well-being, and your way of life than you are yourself. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I want to thank you for being here. I wish you have an awesome day.